It's time for EdTech Mondays, brought to you by MasterCard Foundation and CC Hub.
In Nigeria today, the challenge with education technology isn't about a lack of innovation. It's not about the technology. It's about widespread adoption. We have a number of edtech innovators who are rapidly building platforms across a range of different solutions and categories, from online learning solutions, digital assessment tools, AI-enabled solutions that are focused on improving learning. But these innovations still remain unevenly distributed in public education systems. Now, the key thing that we want to discuss today is to understand what can we do to enable the widespread adoption of the solutions. Yes, we have a number of pilots in a number of states, in a number of public education schools. But how do we understand what it takes to pilot the solutions? But more importantly, what it takes to ensure that these solutions reach millions of learners across Nigeria, and so that we can truly unlock the potential of education technology to improve learning outcomes. Nigeria has demonstrated policy commitment from 2019 National Policy on ICT in Education to the 2025 National EdTech Strategy Framework, which prioritizes infrastructure, teacher capacity, digital content, public-private partnerships, and local innovation. Despite these efforts, many government schools in our public education system still require an intense adoption of edtech solutions. And if the policy direction is clear and innovation is vibrant, what do we need to do to drive widespread adoption of edtech solutions in public schools across the country? Welcome to the first edition of EdTech Mondays Nigeria in 2026. EdTech Mondays Nigeria is a platform that facilitates critical conversations for teaching and learning. My name is Nisi Madu. I'm managing partner at CC Hub, and I'll be your host today, exploring the topic government's role in accelerating local edtech adoption in Nigeria. Across 4 episodes, we'll unpack how government acts as a policymaker, as a pilot partner, as a buyer, and a scaler of local edtech solutions. And we'll be highlighting motivations, lessons, hits, misses, and what must change to unlock widespread adoption of edtech solutions that would lead to improved learning outcomes. Today's conversation focuses on how government policies are moving from paper into real tech classrooms, and how Nigeria's policy environment is clearly recognizing the importance of technology in education, but even more importantly, adoption of this technology in education to lead to learning outcomes. And so one vital question that we hope we answer today, and I have really, really amazing guests that will answer these questions or will discuss these questions today, is what does it actually take for government or its agencies to adopt, pilot an edtech solution? And how can local innovators better align their products with public sector realities? And by the end of this conversation, we hope, and our aim is to leave public actors with clear insights into how innovation can align with public sector priorities, and to leave edtech innovators with practical guidance on how to engage government, not just as a customer, but as a long-term system partner. And now I will go straight into introducing my guests. My first guest today is a seasoned and highly respected education professional serving as a Deputy Director, School Support Division in the Federal Ministry of Education, Nigeria. She became a Deputy Director in 2024 and was posted to head the School Support Division, where she has excelled greatly in attracting programs and interventions that improve the capacity of teachers, especially with regard to the use of technology for improved teaching and learning outcomes, as well as developing teaching aids for enhanced learner participation. Please welcome with me Ogbuke Njideka Dorothy, the Deputy Director of the School Support Services Department at the Ministry of Education. You're most welcome, ma'am.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for that beautiful introduction. Thank you for having me
You're most welcome, Ma. We're happy to have you. Our next guest is the founder of EduTAMS, one of Africa's leading edtech startups. The platform has been instrumental in modernizing school administration, achieving recognition as a top 50 edtech startup in Africa by Holon IQ from 2023 to 2025. Under his leadership, EduTAMS has secured over $200,000 in grants from the Massacre Foundation and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation's CEF Venture Studio. EduTAMS drives the Ogun State education revitalization agenda and partners with financial institutions to support private school growth. Let's welcome Dr. Ademola Adenubi, the founder of EduTAMS, to the show. Dr. Adenubi, you're most welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on the program. It's good to see you again.
Absolutely, same here. And our third guest is currently the Director of Education in the Department of Educational Planning, Research and Statistics. In his role, he oversees the deployment and day-to-day operations of the digital platform for education revitalization. He also served as the State Desk Officer and is a Fellow of the Science Teachers Association of Nigeria, STAN, Ogun State Branch, where he led the state delegation to national competitions and recorded notable successes. Let's welcome Mr. Wasiu Adewale Olabode, the Director of Education in the Department of Educational Planning, Research and Statistics, to the show. You're most welcome, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, everyone. I want to say thank you for having me here today. Thank you.
You're most welcome, sir. Thank you. And our last, but by no means the least, guest is a visionary edtech entrepreneur, digital learning strategist, and advocate for inclusive education across Africa. He's the co-founder of AI Teacha, an AI-powered education platform transforming how teachers teach and students learn by simplifying classroom tasks and personalizing learning. With over a decade of experience in education technology, he has led initiatives that have trained over 12,000 educators and students in digital skills, coding, and the use of AI in education. Please make welcome Emmanuel Akpan, the co-founder of AI Teacha. Welcome, Emmanuel.
Thank you so much, Nisi. It's nice to be here.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. And welcome to all of my guests today. We're going to go straight into the conversation, as I'm sure our audience is excited to hear what we all have to say and what we have to share. My first question would be for our guests on the show who are government representatives. Now, the first question, I know that you both have been working closely, Madam Njideka with AI Teacha and Mr. Adewale with EduTAMS. And so my first question is, what specific education challenges or objectives motivated the decision to adopt, EduTAMS or to adopt AI Teacha? What was the motivating factor for, looking to work with them? What were your priority objectives that you were focusing on? Madam Njideka, we'll start with you.
Over the years of teaching in a classroom, as is just a monotonous thing, where the teacher is the one doing all the talking, explanation is done either verbally or with drawings on the board. If they are aware that they can engage the students more through technology, it will enhance their teaching outcomes. So I felt that AI Teacher is something that they need to be aware of because it's a technological age, and any teacher that does not have, good knowledge of technological engagement for teaching might be left behind. So we needed to build the capacity of our teachers to be aware of the 21st century way of teaching. And that was what made me, feel that AI Teacher is something that we need to really engage with and ensure that our teachers benefit from such knowledge.
Very interesting insights there shared, Madam Njideka, about the importance of, first off, identifying what the needs of the teachers are, and then, trying to see technology solutions that can match it. And those are the two dots that I connect with your comments. It's not enough to just identify very clearly what your priorities are or your objectives are or the challenges are. It's also important to make sure that the type of technology solution that you decide to adopt really fits and aligns with those challenges and objectives that you've highlighted. Before we move on to the next question for our guests, we want to hear from you, the viewers. What education challenges should the federal and state governments prioritize? Should it be infrastructural provision, teacher training, or improving literacy outcomes, amongst others? Share your thoughts with us through our comments if you're listening on YouTube, or you can send us a direct message via SMS or WhatsApp at 0703 165 0809 or call 0706 402 0742. We want your voice to be part of this conversation. Now, back to the conversation with our guests. We'll go on to the two EdTech founders that we have in the room. And my question would start with you, Emmanuel. And my question for both of you is, when it had to do with, making this partnership or connection with the government stakeholders, what were the challenges that you identified, that your solutions aligned with? But from your own perspective in deciding what you wanted your EdTech solutions to focus on, what government priorities or education challenges do your solutions address?
I think I'm coming from background as a teacher. I was always a teacher in the classroom, and I think teaching, I only manage like let's say 20 students. I know how the work I have to do. And the stress, I have to go through just to teach 20 students. And typically you always find in normal school around 50, especially when it comes
To government, you're talking about
a lot more students in
a class,
Yeah.
right? So, I think from that standpoint, we were clear on what the problems were, right? Looking at the fact that we had been in the classroom, we know what, and some of the things that we previously were doing with different organizations. So it was clear what the issues were. I think some of the tools we built, on our platform was born out of, traveling to over 20 states where we're training teachers, right? So, and we had a session in that in those trainings in all of these states where we would ask, what exactly are your issues? What do you think is the reason why you're not using technology? Some of this technology are free. Why are you not using them? What could be the reason? Is it data? Is it, so some of the complaints we get, the major highlight was the technology are not very easy to use. We have to, learn how to use them, expensive to use. And so some of these things were the things we looked at and said, okay, we needed to build. And some of them, another major concern was that it was not actually addressing the Nigerian curriculum. So we had some of these tools were like built from, and then just built, outside Africa and then brought in. And we were selling some of them at that time, right? And when we came back, we're like, these things can't basically solve the problem we have, right? So these were the realities we saw. So we decided, so when we were building, we built from a teacher standpoint, right? Where we understood the problem of teachers. And so our own thesis was built from teacher, let the teachers use it. Let it be about the teachers, not about the administrators, right? In some of other platforms, you see that it's more of administrators. So result, checking, and stuff like that, administrators and parents. So we were more of focused on how to support teachers, because to reduce the stress, to reduce the time they spend on administrative work, apart from the fact that they have to grade, teach, and all of that, they still have to do all of these things, take it home, write lesson note, bring it back. So work was never ending, from school to home. So these were the things that we saw, that we said, okay, let's build something that will be able to solve all of these problems. So we built, just to answer your question, we built from the standpoint of teachers, because we were once in the classroom, and we also have, worked with teachers, trained them, saw some of the problems that they have in the classroom. These are the things we looked at while building. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Emmanuel. And Dr. Adenubi, just before I come to you, Emmanuel, I want to say something about what you've shared. Now, I think to a very large extent, people underestimate the amount of work that teachers do, right? And that work increases exponentially when you have a lot more students in the classroom.
Yes.
And I'm sure that even a teacher who is teaching in a private school and a teacher who is teaching in a public school, they're also completely different nuances. And you know, we're going to come to discussing that. Dr. Adinubi, from your perspective, what were the key priority areas or education challenges that you built EduTAMS to address?
Yeah, thank you very much for this. I think I need to first share some experience that I have upon which we had to move into EduTAMS 4. I had the opportunity of working in the public sector, and where we're also at a point looking at policies around education and how technology, as far back as 2007, could change the face of education. So one thing that I saw that time was that government were not too handy with data that could help them decide on policies for education. So government at that point in time were very genuine in their intent to fix issues within education, but data was largely not available. And then the other experience that I also saw, the fact that government had different schools, and we have this model of flagship schools where very brilliant, exceptional students will go, but sometimes these students couldn't access this school because of either the bureaucracy or the favoritism that are affecting this enrollment. And then, so at that point, we have to look at building technology platform that could be adopted by government to address the question of access to education, where there could be equitable access to education. Students from the convenience of their places and their homes and at their time could actually access this school, possibly apply, and then on their merits, they could get access admitted into the school. So we saw that that was a challenge for government, and then we needed to build a solution that anyone at any time from anywhere could access the best of school that if so wishes. And then at the same time, helping government to be able to generate data that will assist them in policy and monitoring and evaluation of their policies and plans. And the other part is for us to also see that there is an effective management of school, which was a big challenge. Sometimes you see Ministry of Education in states and having trouble in managing the private schools and even in managing their own public schools. So we needed to build a solution that could allow a state to be able to have a touch of control across all the schools in their domain, whether they are public or they are community-based or they are even non-approved or they are private schools. So all of this can be easier for them to manage. At least when a school needs to be approved, they can apply for approval. This approval process can be automated. The approval process can be seamless. So, and then the other thing is that we later realized that even within the government, there were revenue collection within the education system. And sometimes because of the way the education structure, the public system is structured, there are leakages, and sometimes people are even genuinely interested in paying, but they have to undergo strenuous process. For instance, a student wants to apply for enrollment into a school and has to go to the zonal office, queue up for like 1 week before they could even purchase a form. The form that they intentionally want to pay for, but the process of paying, where they have to go to bank, make payment, bring teller back to the zonal office, convert that to receipt, go to another place where they are registered, and then a form is given, and then they have to come back another time to come and submit. So in clarity, we saw that there were need for creation of an equitable access to education. We saw the need and the challenge around simplifying the administration of schools. We also see the challenge that teachers also went through in trying to rewrite lesson note every other time. Sometimes the teacher would have spent like 20, 25 years in service having to write the same note every other time for students. So these were challenges, and we felt that there was also a possibility to have a technology platform that could address these gaps, which from our own standpoint at EduTAMS, we classify them into 5 priority areas. 1, it has to do with equitable access to education. 2, we have to look at simplifying the the administration of school. We have to look at improving teaching and learning outcomes. We have to look at ensuring revenue assurances. And then the fifth one, which is most critical, it's access to reliable data for planning and policy monitoring and evaluation.
Thank you very much for that, Dr. Adenubi. Thank you. I think the very interesting things that you've highlighted there, and the importance really of understanding very clearly, and Emmanuel, you also mentioned that in your response, understanding very clearly what the challenges are and how your solution can be tailored to, addressing those challenges. Now, we often see that one person, on one hand, the government can have challenges, priorities, and they're looking for tech solutions that can address it. And as innovators and edtech founders, you're looking at priorities and also building. Now, I want to understand, how did this partnership come about? So how did you get buying? And I'll start with Mr. Adewale, and then I'll come to you, Emmanuel, and Dr. Adenubi. But from your perspective, Mr. Adewale, as government representative from the Ministry of Education and in Ogun State, what were the key things that needed to happen to get buy-in across board to say, look, we know these are the challenges we have. We want data for effective decision making, and we think that this EduTAMS tool would help us to be able to address these challenges. What were some of the key things and key conversations that needed to happen for the decision, to be made to go ahead and adopt EduTAMS? Mr. Adewale?
Thank you very much. Well, the first thing we took into consideration policy and strategic alignments. Number one, approval was required to confirm that EduTAMS, the technology EduTAMS is providing, aligned with the Ogun State's education reform agenda. One, it's aligning with the digital transformation strategy of the state and the objectives of the state education sector plan, particularly in improving data management, accountability, and learning outcomes. Through the introduction of technology to our educational system, the state relied largely on manual processes. This approach presented several challenges, including delays in data collection, loss of records, gaps in communication between the ministry and schools, incomplete data, and inaccurate data. In some cases, in fact, there is no common platform where teachers, students, stakeholders can interact. It brought a lot of issues. All this put together led to administrative inefficiencies. We cannot get our data then on real-time basis as at when you need it. All this led to what? Poor and ineffective decision-making, affecting our plans, whereby when schools are needed, because of inaccurate data, they are built where they are not needed. So, before the coming of EduTAMS, the deployment of technology, all these challenges affected decision-making in Ogun State. However, since the coming of EduTAMS into our educational system, honestly, things have been on a smooth ride. At the same time, internal revenues review were conducted to ensure compliance with existing education regulations, public service rules, and data protection requirements applicable within Ogun State, particularly when we are talking about student and teacher data. And at the same time, an assessment of our ICT infrastructure in pilot schools were also taken into consideration. That is, we realized that the technology will make use of phones and simple Android phones and internet, which was required to confirm the feasibility and minimize implementation risk. in the deployment of this technology.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adewale, for sharing that. And I mean, we're going to, in subsequent questions, there'll be the opportunity for us to dig deeper to say, you know, in the pilots, in the rollout, what were the key things that happened? But you articulated very important points. It's one thing for you to identify the challenges or your priority areas. Is another thing for you to identify the edtech solution, but then that's not where it ends. There's a lot of review, you know, analysis, alignment that has to happen to effectively make the decision to move forward on that end. Thank you so much, Dr. Adenubi, Mrs. Njideka, Mr. Adewale, and Emmanuel, for your very interesting insights and collaborations on this episode. As we wrap up this part of the conversation, one thing is clear: innovation does not thrive in isolation. Innovation is created as solutions to pressing challenges, and the challenges in education are no exception. So, if you're just joining the conversation, we want to hear from you. What educational challenges should the federal and state government prioritize? This question is currently showing on your screen, and would love you to share your thoughts with us in the comments on social media or through our direct message channels via SMS or WhatsApp at 0703 165 0809 or call 0706 402 0742. Remember, you can continue this discussion on our WhatsApp and Telegram channels, EdTech Mondays Nigeria. And don't forget, past episodes are always available on Spotify, EdTech Mondays Nigeria, and YouTube, CC Hub Africa. Your feedback will help shape the conversations we host and the policy dialogues we advocate for.
Tech Mondays, brought to you by MasterCard Foundation and CC Hub.